is very rare in Namibia for a connected high-ranking government official to face justice for their transgressions, which is why the case of former Education Minister Katrina Hanse-Himarwa has attracted national attention. Namibians have had much to say about the seemingly haughty behavior displayed by disgraced Minister Katrina Hanse-Himarwa during her trial. Disgraced Minister Katrina Hanse-Himarwa heard her fate this week.
A factor that should weigh heavily with this court is that the accused at the age of 52 years has no criminal record and has proved herself to be a productive member of society. She has served the government at different levels with success and transgressed on this one occasion when abusing the powers vested in her office. It is a general rule of law that the court should, as far as it is possible, avoid sending a first-time offender to prison. Moreover, when the same sentencing objectives could be achieved by the imposition of another adequate form of punishment. As per Maritz J.A. in the unreported case of Harry de Klerk versus the state, the ratio behind this approach is that accused persons falling within this category of offenders do not have a demonstrated record of criminal inclinations and are more likely to be rehabilitated by an appropriate sentence than hardened criminals. Also, that it is likely that the only offence they would commit during their lifetimes and that there is no real risk of them becoming repeat offenders. When applying these principles to the present facts, I am satisfied that the accused falls within this category of offenders who should be afforded a second chance in life. To adhere to the state's request to impose direct imprisonment, in my view, would be to overemphasize the seriousness of the offence and the interests of society, whilst giving no or little weight to the accused's personal circumstances. Moreover, where the sentencing objective of deterrence, individually and in general, could be achieved by the imposition of alternative punishment. I am mindful that as a Member of Parliament, the accused is still in a position of authority and might in future be tempted to bring her influence to bear unlawfully. To avoid such possibility, a suspended sentence hanging over her head is likely to have the necessary deterrent effect. Ma'am, could you please rise? Conclusion. Having duly considered all factors and circumstances relevant in deciding what sentence in the present circumstances would be appropriate, I have come to the conclusion that the following sentence is just and proper. In the result, the accused is sentenced to a fine of 50,000 Namibia dollars or in default of payment to 24 months imprisonment, plus a further 12 months imprisonment, which imprisonment is suspended for a period of 5 years on condition that the accused is not convicted of a contravention of Section 43, subsection 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2003, committed during the period of suspension. I hand down the judgment on sentence.
The fact that the former Education Minister remains on the taxpayer's bill as a Member of Parliament has perplexed many, as ultimately this means that we have criminals making laws and policies for us to abide by. I spoke to political analyst Vitalio Angula about how corruption should be tackled in a democracy.
As a people, I truly believe that we get the government we deserve. And if we have people in power, politicians who are found guilty of corruption, and they tend not to show remorse, it means that as citizens we have kind of facilitated their actions. So it begs the question, are we putting the right people in power in terms of people who know the responsibility that comes with an elected office? Because one thing you need to understand is that not all of us can become leaders. So from amongst us, we choose certain individuals to represent our interests. And those people who are representing our interests, they are also people who are representatives of our character as a nation, as a people, and as voters. So if those are the people who we are putting into elected office, then we should start to question ourselves. Is that our character? Are those our ethics? Is that what defines us? Government is the people, so at the end of the day, even in our political organizations, our movements and our political parties, we have to have certain systems and certain criteria for our elected officials to meet before they can become elected officials. What I saw in South Africa, they have a strict ethical guideline in terms of the people who should be elected as official. So these ethical guidelines, they determine if a person of such a character, if you have done a certain criminal offense, in 5 years' time, you will not be able to stand for political office. Because our political parties are the ones that bring forward candidates who later become leaders, we need to have strong institutions and strong guidelines and strong ethical committees within our political movements to ensure that only the right people are coming through to become elected leaders. Otherwise, we have a situation where people who are morally questionable, ethically questionable, rise to the highest ranks. And what happens when they rise to the highest ranks and engage in instances of corruption is that it's always to the deficit of the state. And a person who is an elected official should act in the best public interest of the state. So when it comes to corruption, you are undermining the state, and it goes down to our political organizations at the grassroots, making sure that we are only taking the best from the structures to go into the public and national domain.
We took to the streets to hear from the people.
I think, in my opinion, that she shouldn't because of the criminal record and because there are also many capable people in the country that are able to do the work that she's been doing, or even maybe better.
In my opinion, I don't think she should, because she was accused of corruption and clearly she can't benefit the country anymore. She can't provide anything possible.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone who's running for political office should have a criminal record. Some people who are given criminal records can't even get jobs or vote, so I don't think she should either.
Well, then the constitution is very clear. The Act have made provision that should any member of Parliament be convicted of any crime while she's serving that portfolio, obviously that member, his or her membership has to be withdrawn. So in her case, she's been convicted of a crime, she's been found guilty, so obviously her membership has to be withdrawn.
She must not be given any chance in the parliament because she just proven to the public that she's corrupt someone, so she must just go home. And
yeah, in general view, she deserves a second chance. It cannot be now, but in the near future she can occupy any other post. But for now, for the sake of just following the normal procedure, if someone has committed a crime, you should show the punishment and she must be withdrawn.
Well, now, given a second chance to run for any public office, yes, she can be. However, it should not be as a minister, unless otherwise in other organizations, or let's say public enterprises where she could be perhaps not even a CEO because of that criminal record.
We need a new leadership. More, how can I say, youthful leadership for the country with new ideas, and it won't really help putting her somewhere else where new ideas could be implemented in.
I think she shall not be given any chance to be part of the public office because, since she started already with that corruption, she's not going to end up that thinking of doing corruptions to the family members, of which it's not really good. As here in the Namibian society, we have to deal about the forms of corruption such as extortion, fraud, and it's really something that is not good. So I'm definitely against it.